Welcome back to Limitless Inner Wisdom with Brittany Wiley. If you've ever felt like parts of you are pulling in opposite directions, like one side wants to move forward while another holds you back, or if you're tired of the inner critic running the show, this episode is for you. It's actually what inspired me to create a chart for myself that I call the Inner Aspect Map. The map is a simple tool to help get to know the different parts of yourself and recognize patterns that hold you back. It helps you move forward from self-sabotage to self-empowerment in a quick and easy way. Last time, we talked about how we first need to understand unconditional love before we can practice true self-love, which means embracing all aspects of ourselves, no matter what our experiences have been. We're all learning and growing. The whole journey matters. I had to look at those different aspects of myself and unconditionally love them instead of criticizing them. That alone was a big step. But I also had to look deeper to identify the real or highest expression of each aspect. This wasn't just a mental exercise. It was a journey toward realizing my true self. This whole process started from a conversation I had with my sister. We were talking about how helpful it can be to name the parts of ourselves that show up in negative or challenging ways. That led me to ask, what's the true version of this aspect? Who am I when this part of me is aligned with my inner wisdom and trust in God? So I made this chart to help me see both sides of each part, because every part of me, even the difficult ones, deserves compassion and an invitation back into wholeness. Now, since I can't show you the entire chart all at once, I'll walk you through each part so you can get a sense of how I broke it down. This chart really helped me take a closer look at those parts of me I might normally judge or criticize. Instead of pushing them away, I started seeing them with compassion, and then I asked, what is this part trying to become when it's doing what it's meant to do? That question opened up a whole new way of understanding these aspects. They were no longer something to punish or get rid of, just parts suppressed by fear. For example, take the drifter. This is the part of me that sometimes feels lost or confused, making decisions without really thinking or struggling with identity. When that drifter shows up, it's like I'm floating without a clear anchor. But the highest expression of the drifter is actually the sage, someone who trusts God within her fully, knows herself, and chooses intentionally, guided by that inner connection with God. So, integrating this aspect means meeting the drifter with kindness and reminding her of the sage's deep knowing. It's about affirming my true identity beyond the confusion and choosing actions rooted in inner wisdom. Then, there's the perfectionist. This part is all about control, always pushing, always feeling never good enough. It's exhausting and it keeps me stuck. But when I look deeper, the perfectionist's true nature is the mage, someone who trusts in divine flow and lets things manifest naturally. So instead of forcing or pushing myself, integration here means surrendering, trusting that growth is safe, and believing in my own worth without having to prove anything. And I can't forget the people pleaser, the part that craves external validation. That's a feeling many of us know well, but when I tap into the highest expression, that part transforms into the queen. Sovereign, grounded in her own self-worth, acting from a place of inner knowing instead of reaction. The path to integration here is about acknowledging the need for love, but remembering that my worth is unconditional, not dependent on others' approval. Another interesting pair is the cynic and the mystic. The cynic often feels boxed in, stuck with limited thinking and doubt. When that part takes over, it's hard to see beyond the immediate problems. But the mystic, on the other hand, is curious, open, and full of trust. She knows there's a bigger picture and that answers will come in time. So, to integrate these two, I first meet the cynic with compassion, understanding her need for safety and certainty. Then, I invite the mystic to come forward with her openness and faith, along with the sage reminding the cynic that the answers she seeks are already inside, unfolding naturally through trust in God's timing. And then there's the stoic, the part of me that can get over-serious, shutting down emotionally to stay in control. That part has felt isolating at times, but underneath it, I've come to know the muse, the imaginative, emotionally alive, playful part of me that sees life through wonder. That part is saying to me,
"Come on, let's play!"
And it's so important that I respond with a yes. Integration for me has meant letting that part have a voice again, letting joy, imagination, and creativity come forward without labeling them as unimportant or too much. That part of me isn't silly or unnecessary, it's vital. It opens the door to honest expression, connection, and spiritual inspiration. The muse says,
"I have so many ideas."
Letting that part lead when I'm creating opens up so much more freedom, flow, and originality than when I'm stuck in my head trying to get it right. Creativity is heart-based. You need the inner child to be your muse.
Yep, you need me.
And that's really what this whole map has shown me. When we allow the highest expression of each aspect to guide the way, everything changes. Whatever you do, don't buy into the narratives that the shadow aspects try to sell you. While they may be trying to protect you, they often weave stories that plant seeds of self-doubt and disempowerment. And those narratives can stop you in your tracks before you even begin. I've seen this show up in me so many times. Like while working on a song I'm writing, I'm getting ideas, but they're coming slower than I'd like. It's not the easy flow I've experienced with other songs. And that frustrates the perfectionist in me. That voice says, "This is taking too long. Maybe you're not even a good songwriter." That's discouraging. That's disempowerment. I've come to see that even when that part is being harsh, it's trying to protect me. The perfectionist wants to keep me from feeling the disappointment of failure. But in doing so, it tries to talk me out of one of my own gifts, just because something's feeling hard in the moment. Then the drifter chimes in. Maybe you were never really a songwriter to begin with. That kind of self-doubt can sneak in fast. But that part of me, the drifter, isn't trying to hurt me either. It's just used to uncertainty and wants to keep me from making the wrong move. When I listen with compassion, I realize both parts are afraid, and both are trying to help in the only way they know how. But I don't have to follow their lead. I can notice the fear and choose something different. Trial and error is a part of the process. Figuring it out as you go is what progress looks like. Because I've practiced listening for inner wisdom, I was able to pause and ask God in that moment to help me refocus. What came through was a memory of a time when songwriting flowed easily while I was recording as I wrote. But this time, I was in such a hurry to finish that I forgot that simple technique I've used so many times. That reminder grounded me, giving myself time to refocus and allowing inner wisdom to flow helped me reconnect the drifter and the perfectionist to their highest expressions, the sage and the mage. This opened the way for the muse to step forward, no longer blocked by fear or needing protection. This moment reminded me how often our highest aspects are blocked by the shadows. The muse simply wasn't being allowed to do her job. I needed to let her step forward to keep me inspired and open to what wants to flow through. And I needed the sage to remind me I'm still on the right path, even when things feel uncertain. The mage helps me stay open to exploration and experimentation, reminding me, you're safe to try. And the queen? She steps in to say, your gift is real. Lean into your uniqueness and express your full self. This is why the aspect map means so much to me. It helps me remember to call on the aspects that carry God's wisdom, the ones that bring me back to peace, playfulness, and purpose. What I realized is that every one of these parts, even the shadow sides, are trying to protect us or keep us safe. though sometimes in ways that hold us back. The highest expressions are where unconditional love meets inner wisdom. Integration isn't about forcing change or beating ourselves up. It's about compassionately guiding each part back home. This journey requires patience because we're not just changing thoughts, we're healing old wounds and clearing limiting beliefs. Things like, I'm not good enough, or I have to get everything perfect. When we let go of those, we open space for our highest expressions to come forward. God is always holding space for this process, for the mistakes, the growth, the learning. Trusting that flow rather than resisting or trying to force things with just our mind brings us into alignment with our true self and the path laid out for us. If you want to create your own inner aspect map, start by identifying the parts of yourself that show up frequently, especially those that challenge you or hold you back. These can take many forms: emotions, roles you play, or even specific memories. When naming these aspects, don't worry about matching my labels. You might choose a simple name like Bill to represent a particular part of you, or maybe a voice or a feeling that shows up in certain situations. Or you might pick an age you remember or a role that feels significant. The key is to make it personal and meaningful in a way that resonates with your own experience. Once you've got your list of aspects, take a little quiet time to ask God, through your inner wisdom, what the highest, truest expression of each one might be. Just listen without judging or overthinking. Write down both the challenging side and the best, most loving side of each aspect. That way you get a fuller picture of who you really are and create space for growth. If this speaks to you, I created a free worksheet to help you map out your own inner aspects. It's linked in the description below. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out in the comments, on social media, or by email. All the links are there too. Thanks so much for being here with me today.
Until next time, bye for now.